Here we are once again. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Clare. It's September 24th, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find the show. Of course, we're on YouTube and Apple Podcasts as well. Today, we're talking about social media and its impact on marijuana law reform. Also, is Mexico ready to legalize marijuana? And is marijuana delivery coming soon to Massachusetts? All of that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com. And their organic, all-natural pesticides makes you grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you are growing. Instead, use Natureside. Be regulatory compliant in the state that you're growing in. Don't use banned pesticides. Don't use yucky, icky, awful chemicals. Use Natureside. Nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you to Natureside. It's first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. Social media and its impact on marijuana law reform. I had a chance to talk with Violet Cavendish from the Marijuana Policy Project. She's the social media and communications coordinator for MPP. Social media-wise, about 200,000 followers on Twitter and almost 500,000 likes on Facebook for the Marijuana Policy Project. Over the past several years, she said, social media has proven to be a powerful tool at dismantling misinformation and stigma surrounding cannabis. We're seeing people share their experience on how failed and outdated cannabis policies have negatively impacted their lives. So, Facebook is the biggest impact. She said Facebook offers useful tools that allow MPP to directly reach constituents who can push for cannabis legislation at local, state, and federal levels. But she also said that is not to say that Facebook does not have its drawbacks, specifically in terms of discriminating against and limiting the ability of cannabis-related pages to effectively use the platform's tools. There's a real need for Facebook to update its policies and address this issue, Violet told us. You want to check out that story? It's at marijuanatimes.org, of course, and linked in the description of this video, as are all stories that I talk about. And thank you to Marijuana Policy Project. Go follow all those. If you're on social media and you follow like normal Marijuana Policy Project and Drug Policy Alliance, Students for Sensible Drug Policy, organizations like that, Americans for Safe Access, follow them all, like them on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media outlets you use the most. Share, like, again, whatever the platform calls for that will spread the visibility of what you're trying to share. It's called different things on different platforms. But it's an easy way to be an activist. I'm not saying that you should take the easy way out. If you want to do more, by all means, do more. But a lot of people are busy. A lot of people got a lot of stuff going on. And the impact they can have with just a couple button pushes and a couple shares and, a posting in a group on Facebook or whatever. Excuse me. It can have a lot of impact for a minimal amount of time in your life. So you can live your life, you can be the busy person you are, and still have some kind of impact when it comes to a cause that you feel deserves more attention. So the great thing about the power of social media. Obviously, there's a lot of awful things about social media, but there's awful things about everything. Good thing is, you share information quickly, easily, with a lot of people, or at least help it be shared with a lot of people. This next story from theleafdesk.com. Mexico ready to legalize cannabis next month. Holy crap. Mexico's government this week set the wheels in motion for full legalization of recreational marijuana. Following a nationwide consultation last month and a series of public meetings, Mexico's lawmakers agreed to honor the pledge to discuss the prospect of making cannabis legal. The move came following a Supreme Court ruling last year that declared prohibiting personal use of cannabis is unconstitutional. According to Mexico Supreme Court, the ruling set in motion move towards legislation that would allow the Latin American giant to relax current laws around marijuana. According to the leader of the upper house's Moreno party, Ricardo Monreal Avila, the Senate's committees are reviewing 13 proposals on how to make legalization work. The speed and enthusiasm for ushering through legislation to legalize cannabis in Mexico is, according to U.S.-based Mexican political expert Jonathan Winterburn, absolutely remarkable. He told the Leaf Desk, quote, "Look, make no bones about it. This is almost done and dusted as far as the ruling parties are concerned. This is no longer a case of if Mexico will legalize cannabis, but more of a question of when it will legalize it." And the answer to that seems to be to already be coming. The Senado de Mexico, where the Moreno party is basically saying legislation could be drawn up before the end of October. That being the case, it would be safe to assume this will pass as a bill in central government law in the first half of 2020. So things moving quickly in Mexico. Good for them. You've got Canada to the north. If you're in the United States, you've got Mexico to the south. You have legalization. When will federal legalization come to the United States? I don't know. We shall see. And if it does, well, of course, we'll follow it here on Cannabis News because it's kind of a big deal. Just a bit. This last story from Mass Live. We'll see if we can fit it in. The federal government of the United States legalizes marijuana. We'll see if we can fit it into the show. Maybe it's in an addendum at the end of an episode. I don't know. MassLive.com is this next story. Marijuana delivered to your door. Massachusetts regulators approve home delivery cannabis cafes. Do you want legal tested marijuana delivered to your door without worrying that the police will show up next? Yes, I do. Oh, this is rhetorical for the article. Soon, the author of the article says, that will be a reality in Massachusetts. The Cannabis Control Commission on Tuesday voted to approve regulations that will allow marijuana home delivery services to operate legally within the state. The rules will also allow for marijuana cafes where people can go with friends to eat, smoke, or vape marijuana legally. We feel like we have got a good balance between trying to meet the will of the voters, but recognizing that there are concerns from a public health and public safety standpoint, said Cannabis Control Commission Chairman Steve Hoffman. The vote was 4-1. Commissioner Jennifer Flaggen feels it's too early to do this, so she was the dissenting vote. Both new types of licenses will be reserved for the first 2 years for social equity and economic empower applicants. Those two types of licenses being the delivery and the social use areas. There's categories of businesses owned by minorities, people with drug convictions, and people who have lived and worked in communities disproportionately affected by marijuana prohibition. Hoffman said home delivery licenses could potentially start being considered within a couple of months after the commission develops and posts its applications. Then, of course, entrepreneurs will have to negotiate agreements with host communities and such. And then maybe a little further down the line, social use cafes can start getting licenses out and getting online. So still a process, quite a bit of a process to go through, but it has been approved. And as I've said many times before, things like social use areas, cafes, marijuana delivery, all these things are an integral part of legalization. You really can't have anything considered decent legalization unless these things are in place. In an era where you can have your groceries delivered to you, maybe by drone in a couple of years. I know in some places it's by self-driving car or, I was going to say motorized. An automated car, a car that drives itself, brings you groceries. Surely a person in a vehicle can bring you marijuana. It doesn't seem like too much to ask in this day and age. But we'll see. But the more jurisdictions, the more states that implement it, the more momentum the ideas will get, and the more data we'll have on the fact that, hey, this is not a big deal. People getting marijuana delivered home is not a big deal. Social use cafes, they're not a big deal. They're not bothering anybody. Just let them open up. Let them be. Let them run their business. It's fine. You'll be fine. It's just weed, man. It's just a plant. Everybody calm down. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. Cannabis News. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there, of course. Search us on Apple Podcasts for the audio version of the show. Thank you to NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic all-natural pesticides. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening today and all the days you watch and listen. And we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.